Today we're interviewing Sue Daumiller, and we'll get started. Now, can I ask how old you are, Sue?
Yes, you can. I'm 61.
61, and you're still surfing?
Yes, but not as much as I used to.
Can I ask you your first surfboard?
My first surfboard was a Moselle, and I bought it in Santa Barbara.
So that was made locally over there?
I don't know, but my local board was an Owl in Santa Barbara. I had it made for me, and it was a real big decision back in the 60s whether to get a 9.6 or a 9.4. We thought a 9.4 might be too radical.
So what year did you sort of start surfing?
I started in 1965. I was 15.
And what break were you surfing?
Probably mostly in Goleta.
Yeah. Was that close to where you were living?
Yeah, I was living in northern Santa Barbara, Goleta, and there was a college town called Ida Vista. And they had a lot of breaks, College Point, Devereaux, and so we hung out there. The school started the program.
So surfing through schools like they have here today?
Yeah, and then once I got onto it, I just loved it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
was there lots of kids surfing?
Oh, lots and lots of kids, lots of girls, lots of guys.
Yeah. When you went for a surf, how many people would be in the water sort of on any average day? Depending
on where we went, but Devereaux had a point break and maybe 2 or 3 beach breaks, and you could have 50, 60 people in the water and it wouldn't be all that crowded.
Yeah, so everyone sort of got away. Yeah.
And everybody was pretty friendly then too.
Did they have any clubs in those days?
Yeah, we formed a club called Outside Surfing Association, but I think we were a little bit better with parties than we were with competition, but I did a bit of competition when I was about 17, 18.
Yeah.
But that was pretty strong because people were really aggressive, and I don't think I had the discipline to do it.
It's a different thing though in a competition to just free surfing.
Yeah.
So did you have wetsuits in those days, or?
Well, my first year I had no wetsuit in Santa Barbara, and it was cold.
Yep.
And then I did buy a wetsuit, and that helped a lot.
Yep. So
we used to build fires on the beach and come in and warm ourselves.
Keep warm. Yeah. Your best surfboard you've ever had? Probably one that you got rid of and regretted it, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think. I had a really nice one when I moved to Maui, and I can't even remember the name who had made it. Yeah. But that was a really good one. I suppose it was probably about 6'11", 7'2".
So what made you shift to Hawaii?
In Santa Barbara, I went through the riots when they burned the bank in 1970, and I wanted to get out of there. Yeah. And I went to Oahu for a month, and I decided there were more jobs on Oahu than there were in California, so I never came home.
Yep. So have you got a famous, well not a famous, but a funny story about surfing? You must have something stupid that's happened out in the waves that stand out or something? Or? Yeah,
well, a lot of stories really. I suppose one that was funny in California was I was surfing along on my board, and that would have been probably 68, 69, and a guy just came on behind me and picked me up by the waist and threw me off the board. And I mean, it was a friendly thing. It was just funny and everything. But about 2 months later, I was down south in the LA area surfing some beach break, and it was the same guy. I found out. This guy came up behind me, picked me up, threw me off my board, and I turned around, it was him. You know, so it was just kind of, fun stuff like that.
Yeah. Best, have you had one of those days where you've gone out and the surf's been fantastic? Where was that and when was that roughly?
On Maui, there's a place called Honolulu Bay, and that was my favorite all-time place. It was really good. Yeah. And it was only about 10 minutes from my house. And it was just clean and good, maybe 3 to 5 foot with 6 foot sets. And we just surfed all day. It was just beautiful and clean, and not many people out.
But nowadays there'd probably be thousands out there.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't even seen any modern pictures of Honolulu Bay.
Yeah. What do you think made you take up surfing when you first started?
I loved water.
Yeah.
And we had moved from Pennsylvania to California. And I always swam and loved water, and when I saw surfing, I thought it was just an extension of swimming. Yep. And as soon as I got on the board, I just loved it.
I was probably too young to have a car. What was your, did you have a car in Hawaii or
friends had cars in California.
Yeah, what sort of cars were they?
My brother had a Woody, but we weren't allowed
to.
We were not allowed to touch it because he was a car guy, and we couldn't have our surfboards anywhere near it. But Mom had a station wagon, and that I can't remember. I know we had a Ford Falcon station wagon at one point. Yeah. And she used to let us use her wagon when I got old enough to drive. And a friend had a Volkswagen Bug, and that was always big on the road trips.
Yeah, a lot of bugs in America, wasn't there?
Yeah. It was a real popular car for gas. I think was about 25 cents a gallon. Yeah. So we used to roam up and down the coast. Did
you surf down in Mexico that way at all? Or?
No, we surfed probably from Santa Cruz down to San Diego. Yeah. At that time, Mexico, I wanted to go, but there was a lot of drug running and everything, and I was still at home. Yeah. And my dad said that anyone who took me to Mexico, he'd call the police and have them arrested, so nobody wanted to take me, which is probably good.
Yeah, yeah. Surfing, when did you come to New Zealand?
I first came to New Zealand on a sailboat in 1975 and wanted to live here, and immigration said no. Yeah. So I came back in '82 and loved it and immigrated in '84.
Yeah. So where's your best surf spot? You live in Whangarei, obviously, but where do you go surfing mostly around here?
I suppose Sandys Bay, yeah. And if it's big, I'll go over to Matapori. Yeah. And if it's small, I'll go to Ocean Beach because I don't have the fitness.
Yeah, and you've been to Patao. I know you've surfed.
Yeah, I love Patao. Yeah, I love Patao. That's nice.
You had any surf accidents? Anything bad, or you'd be one of the luckier?
No. I got almost knocked out in Devereaux in Santa Barbara one time by a board that came up and just whacked me on the head. Yeah. And all I remember is being rescued by a guy and being taken on to the beach. Yeah. But yeah, I've been hit on the head a few times, but that one was probably the worst. Yeah.
But why do you think that everyone, and all the surfies will say that they love surfing, but why do you think that is, that everyone enjoys surfing so much? I know it's a funny question, but it's...
No, it's a good question. I think, for me, I've done a lot of searching why I did like it. I think because when you're out surfing, you think of nothing else. Yeah. And it's really a clean sport. It's beautiful. The water always feels good. It feels really nice to challenge yourself. You can never get good enough. You can always get better. Yeah. Or you can just go out and have just a fun surf. You know, to me, it's a perfect sport.
I know you're pretty well known in New Zealand for your scrimshaw work. So where did you start doing scrimshaw? In Hawaii, or did you do that before you?
No, in Hawaii. Yeah. I sailed around the South Pacific and I saw some scrimshaw. And when I came back in 1977 to Maui, a company was starting up and offering artists to do it. And I just wanted to do it so bad. And so they'd give you 10 pieces, little pieces. And my first 10 pieces were really bad. And they told me it was no good. And I just wanted to quit. But I wanted to do it really bad. So I got 10 more. They gave me a second chance and really put a lot into it. I just loved it. Yeah. And I thought I could always have that as, you can work at home. Yeah. And then you could work at night and surf in the day. Yeah. So it worked out pretty good.
So who was your heroes in surfing? Did you have anyone that you thought that was just fantastic when you were just sort of getting started? Or was like, did anyone stand out that you sort of wanted to be like or anything?
I mean, all the regular guys, it's hard to remember everybody's name, but I know Corky Carroll, we used to always enjoy seeing him surf, and then Margot Godfrey, who turned into Margot Bober, she was really up for the girls because, you know, we always wanted to achieve, you know, what she had achieved. I can't think of any names, but there were so many local...
Yeah, I can't think of the girl's name, but there's a famous Hawaiian girl that lost her arm. Did you know her, or your sister know her in Hawaii, or you had friends that knew her that went?
Yeah. You mean the Hamiltons?
Yeah.
Tom and Sherry were my friends from church. Yeah. And they really helped me a lot when I first started going to church. And I got off drugs, and they really helped me a lot. So I knew Bethany when she was little, but I don't know her. Yeah. But Tom and Sherry were really, really instrumental and just keeping me surfing and
Yeah.
just encouraging me.
Yeah.
They're an amazing family.
Yeah, they are an amazing family. I don't know what else to ask you next.
Oh, I'll just tell you some stories.
Okay, tell me a
because
story.
I've written down some.
Okay.
We used to get in on a Friday night from school, and a bunch of us together would pile in money, and mostly the Volkswagen, and we used to just head out, and it would be, I don't know, an 8-hour trip from Santa Barbara, or 7 hours to Santa Cruz. And we used to drive all night long, and we'd come into all these little burger bars and stuff, and we'd sleep on picnic tables, and that was really fun. And then one time, we wanted to go to Malibu, but we didn't know where it was. And we met this guy surfing, and we thought he was older and knowledgeable, and we thought he was really neat. And he said he'd take us to Malibu. Yeah. So we were so excited. We piled in a station wagon, a whole bunch of us young kids, and we get down to a petrol station, and we hear him ask the guy, "Where's Malibu?" And we were so disappointed because we thought, oh, you know, you didn't even know where Malibu was, you know. And you think of a lot of things like that, and I mean, some of the old things were just like the movies. We used to camp at El Capitan, and it had a couple of beach breaks along the campsite, and then around toward the south was a really good point. Yeah. And you could surf anywhere around there, and a lot of clubs used to come up, and there was what they call off-ramps, and they'd be long stretches where people could park their cars away from the main highway. Yep. And then people would go and they'd party on the beach and stuff. And then one night we heard rumble on the off-ramp, you know, and there was a big fight on the off-ramp, and so we all piled in the vans, and the Doors was playing, you know, and it was just like in the movies. And we got out to the off-ramp, and they were just settling the fight and everything. And the next morning, the two presidents, one from each club, shook hands on the beach. I mean, it was really amusing to look back on now, but it was quite a big deal.
So the two clubs, somehow they had a disagreement.
It's about noise or who knows what. But I remember, you know, we were naive, and we just thought it was all a bit of fun. Yeah, yeah. You know, just fun.
So what sort of surfboard have you got at the moment?
I have a Roger Hall,
a
Mini Mountain. I love it. Yeah. It's just perfect. Yeah,
well, he knows how to make surfboards, that's for sure. Have you got another funny story for us?
I was trying to think.
What about the rail sun?
Oh yeah, because when we first went to Hawaii, I lived in Waikiki for a month, and then a few of us moved out to Makaha, and we were told that it was a real close scene. Yeah. You know, and that just to be low key. And we were happy with that, but I remember going out to Makaha Beach, and that was a real fun wave because you'd ride in, and then the backwash would kick up, and so you had to just allow for that. Yeah, and so it was really fun. We were surfing and everything, and I got sort of thrown off my board, and I can't remember what happened, but I remember looking at this lady. She was a really lovely Hawaiian lady, and I knew that I would just have to be low key. And so a couple of waves after, a board came at me, and I remember just picking it up, because that's what we always did in California. We would just hold it so it didn't go all the way to shore. That was before leg ropes. Yeah. And I remember taking it out to her, and I remember just looking at me and just kind of, like it was just okay. Yeah, yeah. And I just thought, what an incredible person she was. Yeah, you know, an incredible lady.
Yeah. That's great. I think I'd like to thank you for taking my children surfing for years, because I know you took both our kids all over the North Island, and they went to places that they would probably never have gone without you, so I'd just like to personally say thank you, Sue.
Oh no, I enjoyed it so much. I think it was Jamie that named the teddy bear, I think Ted, and then I remember Jamie said one time we were doing Christian Surfers somewhere down south, and he said, "Ted needs a wife." And I said, oh no, because he was just about that big, and so I hunted everywhere for just a little bear, and so I found one, and he called her Marjorie, and then after about 6 months he said, they need some kids. So I had to find all these tiny little bears, and we had bears all over my car. Yeah, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, it was really great, and I appreciate for what you did for those kids. Thank you, Sue. Like that's sweet. Have you got another story, or?
No, I was just trying to think, but Yeah, I think one of the sad stories was when we used to surf a place between Ventura and Malibu called Stanley's.
Yeah.
And it was a great place, had a little diner, and you know, it was
a
just
diner
breaks
right
all
by
over
the
the
beach,
place.
sort of
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
and
beach.
you'd park, and
Yeah.
and it was, I think, named from Stanley's Diner. And then we just surfed there all the time because it was a really good break. And then I remember hearing that they paved over it for the highway.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, oh no, they wouldn't do that. And I remember driving past it, and I think we were driving on the break.
Yeah. So
And we
that's
thought,
lost forever.
Yeah,
sort of.
lost forever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and I wish they'd taken more photos because it's
Yeah.
quite a neat place. But yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you, Sue. That's wonderful. Thank you.